The disc sander. Again, all general rules apply when using any of these sanders. Operate only with the instructor's permission and after you received instruction. Take care of jewelry, loose clothing, confined long hair, tied up or tied back. With the sanders, the first thing that you want to make sure is that nothing is torn or damaged. Okay? The disc sander has an adhesive back so it sticks to the plate. If the disc seems to be torn or is coming off at all, please let me know. I will take care of that, as well as with the belt sander. If anything is damaged, we want to replace that so that it doesn't shred off or cut someone as they're using it. We want to make sure all guards are in place and operating properly, and our safety glasses are on at all times. The dust collector system will be on when using all of the machines, but this is one you really want to make sure it's on if this was the only machine you were using. Dust collector start button is right here. Green for start, red for stop. And we want to make sure that we have that on because all the fine dust that the sanders are creating. The 12-inch disc that we have on the disc sander, usually we have a rough grit on the disc sander, and on the belt sander it's a little bit finer grit. Okay? We want to make sure that the material is held flat against our table. Okay? If you have the material up, when it hits the sander, it's going to kick down and it could pinch you or hurt you. Table right here, all of the tables for the sanders are adjusted within 1/16 of an inch. So there's only about a 1/16 of an inch gap between the table and the sanding disc or the sanding belt. That way, if you have a small piece that you're sanding, it can't catch and pull down into the table and jam the machine or catch your finger. Work must be done on the side of the disc, rotating downward. Okay, this disc rotates counterclockwise. I'll turn this on here in just a second. It's rotating very fast, so it's hard to see, but it's rotating counterclockwise. We have our rubber cleaner stick right here, and if we sand on the side of the disc rotating downward, you can see it pushes it down into the table and it's not a problem. But if you forget and go to the other side of the table, it could kick it out of your hand. If you are holding on to a piece of wood and you happen to hit that size, it could make the board kick up and it could hit you in the face or somewhere else or fly out of your hands and hit someone else. Okay? So we want to make sure that we finish sanding and the machine has come to a complete stop. On this machine, we are doing outside curves right here. We have a spindle sander that will do the inside curves for us, but we're focusing on the outside curves with the disc and the belt. With the belt sander, you want to make sure that you are following all general safety rules that apply also to the disc sander. One of the most important is making sure that the gap between the table and the belt is adjusted to within a 1/16 of an inch. That way, as you're sanding, nothing can catch and pull down in there. When we're sanding our workpiece, you want to make sure that it's flat down on the table. If you hold something up against it, you catch and pull down, it could pinch or cut you. We've checked our belts and discs. The edges aren't frayed. There's no cuts, tears, damage. It's not loose. When we set this up, the belt that we put on here, there's a cap on the end. We take that off. We adjust the tension, slide the belt on, and make sure that the tension and the tracking are set. The belt is actually directional. There are arrows on the belt itself. We want to make sure that's on correctly or the belt can tear very quickly. So we have that on. We put the cap on, make sure that is back on and secured with the set screws. The tracking is going to make sure that that belt doesn't come off one side or the other. If it does, it can hit the edge and it will tear and it could cut you. So you want to make sure that that is set correctly. You also want to make sure that as you are sanding, you're obviously using your hands to push the piece around, but keep your hands, fingers, knuckles clear of the sanding belt and disc. Okay? If you go up against that, it's going to cut you. Okay? It's going to be very painful. Right? Making sure that the belt and disc are stopped before leaving the machine, so if someone comes up and it's not still running, it does shut down pretty quick, but just make sure that we don't go up against that. Okay. We have a sanding cleaner. It's a rubber block that when we use the sanders, you'll see that it actually picks up sawdust in the grain of the belt and disc. The sanding cleaner pushes up against the block and actually pulls that sawdust back out so it's like new. And you can see that residue is now off of the belt again, and it's in good shape. We can prolong the life of the belts and discs by using this. We just don't want to burn these up because they do go very quickly. You can see the tracking move just a little bit here, so I'm going to turn that back on and adjust it so it stays in the center, and it's ready to go for everyone's use.